The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning to you here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
We begin this morning with breaking news from overnight of a homicide investigation out of Rosamond. The sheriff's office says deputies responded to reports of a shooting at a home just before 8 o'clock last night. When deputies arrived, they say they found one person who appeared to be the victim of a violent assault. We have reached out to the sheriff's office for more information. We have not heard back as of news time. Meantime, an investigation is underway after a person was killed in a car crash involving several vehicles on Highway 58. It happened yesterday around 3:45 in the afternoon on westbound 58 at Chester Avenue. At least 3 semi-trucks were involved, with one vehicle reportedly catching fire. It is not immediately clear what caused the crash or whether anyone else was hurt.
In your 17 Court Watch this morning, a decision is expected today in the case of a man accused of driving under the influence in a crash that killed 3 of his passengers on New Year's Eve back in 2020. Prosecutors and defense lawyers said in court last week they'll soon either reach a settlement or be ready to set a trial date for 23-year-old Adam Teasdale. Teasdale allegedly drove under the influence on New Year's Eve of 2020 when he swerved, went over a median, and hit a tree on Brimhall Road near Jewetta Avenue. Timothy Wilson, Devin Atha, and Andrew Ortiz, all 20 years old, were killed. A 4th passenger survived.
One of the men sentenced for the shooting death of 3-year-old Major Sutton is arguing he should be resentenced under changes to the state's felony murder rule. Back in November 2017, gunmen kicked open the door to an apartment and opened fire, killing Major Sutton and wounding his young brother and pregnant mother. Investigators say they were targeting a rival gang member who was not at the home. Tyrone Johnson, who pleaded no contest to multiple felonies, including voluntary manslaughter, had a hearing yesterday to make that request for a resentencing. Johnson and co-defendant David Palms accepted plea agreements back in August.
4 charges, 4 guilty verdicts in the double homicide trial of Alex Murdaugh, who is now convicted in the shooting deaths of his wife and son. Now
the former South Carolina attorney awaits sentencing. NBC's Jay Gray has the latest from the Colton County Courthouse.
They spent 28 days viewing at times graphic evidence, listening to testimony and arguments from both legal teams. There was even a trip to the crime scene. And after 6 weeks at the center of this high-profile murder trial, jurors spent less than 3 hours behind closed doors before coming to a decision, finding Alex Murdaugh guilty in the murders of his wife Maggie and their son Paul. Prosecutors thanking the jury for, quote, seeing through the last con of Alex Murdaugh.
Our criminal justice system worked tonight. It gave a voice to Maggie and Paul Murdaugh, who were brutally mowed down and murdered on the night of June 7th, 2021 by someone that they loved and someone that they trusted.
Murdaugh showed no emotion as the clerk read the verdict and remained stoic as he was escorted from the courtroom in handcuffs. His son Buster appeared to wipe away tears following the verdict. Sentencing is set for 9:30 Friday morning. Murdaugh facing between 30 years and life in prison. Prosecutors have asked for the maximum sentence. Jay Gray, NBC News, Walterboro, South Carolina.
Tonight, an all-new Dateline will feature the latest in the trial of Alex Murdaugh as insiders close to the family speak out for the first time to NBC News' Craig Melvin. That airs tonight at 9 o'clock right here on KGET.
California's first in the nation Reparations task force is close to its deadline to present its case for reparations for Black Californians. But what would that mean for Kern County residents? 17th Michaela Armstrong aired a special in-depth report, Reparations. Let's talk about it on 17 News at 6 last night. The state's task force examines counties throughout the state where discriminatory harms and practices have continued against Black Californians since the enslavement of African Americans. Michaela spoke with local residents to hear how they feel about reparations and what this could change here if approved.
It's always refreshing to make something right for both parties, the one that has done the wrong. But what they're saying and they're thinking is, well, I didn't commit that wrong, others did. but you cannot excuse the ramifications, the results of that wrong, and especially if you find out through data and research that it still has a negative impact on the people, on the African Americans.
President Biden continues to play coy over his intentions to run for re-election. This as a few presidential hopefuls prepare to speak at the annual Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, just outside of Washington, D.C. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington this morning with more on the GOP heavy hitters skipping the event.
To the people of East Palestine and
former President Donald Trump takes center stage at CPAC this weekend, the Conservative Political Action Conference known for drawing large crowds of enthusiastic Republicans.
This is a great opportunity to come and actually commingle, if you will, with people that are like-minded.
We are suffering right here, right now, and the people here are the ones seeking to address those issues.
The gathering has long been a hot spot for potential Republican presidential candidates. This year, it's a short list. Trump and Nikki Haley will attend. They've officially declared they're running, but potential 2024 candidates skipping the event.
It's unfortunate that DeSantis is not going to be here.
Divisions within the party are clear. And so are concerns about sexual misconduct allegations against the head of CPAC. Former Vice President Mike Pence participated in a fireside chat in Battleground, South Carolina instead.
I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order. And for me, it all begins with faith.
On the other side of the aisle, President Biden met with Democrats on Capitol Hill Thursday.
Hey, record.
When will you announce your re-election, sir?
When I announce it.
While Mr. Biden remains tight-lipped about his re-election plans, the First Lady was forthcoming.
He's not done. He's not finished what he started.
The 2024 race for the White House just starting to take shape. DeSantis, Pence, and Trump will all head to Iowa this month, a key state for Republican presidential hopefuls to test the waters. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
The severe winter weather that slammed our state this week has left several California mountain communities seeking help. Now less than 24 hours after Governor Gavin Newsom proclaimed a state of emergency for impacted counties, officials say help is on the way. The governor's proclamation includes 13 counties, including Kern, Tulare, Sierra, LA, and San Bernardino. Cal OES says the declaration has allowed the state to quickly deploy resources, including the California Guard, Caltrans road crews, and private companies to accelerate snow removal. The help couldn't come sooner for those in the hard-hit San Bernardino mountains. Shelby Nelson with our sister station explains why.
Picking up the pieces, digging through the snow, many mountain residents are still stuck as food, fuel, and vital resources dwindle.
It's a total loss. Everything is crushed. Yep, nothing left.
A total loss at Goodwin's Market, a store locals in Crestline were relying on to get their food. Their roof caved in from several feet of snow. General Manager Michael Johnstone says they are working to rebuild.
Nobody got hurt. We did have one staff member in the back room when the initial collapse happened, but he heard the noises of the creaking of the beams. He was able to get out, right before the thing crashed.
Roofs also caving in at many other homes and businesses. The National Guard has been deployed to the San Bernardino County mountains. The governor declaring a state of emergency after residents became trapped in their homes, among many other problems.
Power went out on the second day on Friday. A tree had come down and took the lines out. And we didn't see a plow, and they didn't cut the tree until Sunday morning. And then we never saw a plow again, and the burns were just so high we couldn't even get out.
We've had 4 residential structure fires in the Lake Arrowhead area in the last 7 days, which is concerning and a little atypical.
One couple is lucky to be alive after an explosion went off while they were still inside their Lake Arrowhead home Wednesday afternoon.
He took the brunt of the explosion. He was in the bedroom when it had happened, at which point that dislocated his shoulder.
Daniel Dressler, who lives in Tennessee, shared these images of his brother-in-law, Mike Limpus. He says Mike went to help his fiancee, who became trapped under the collapsed roof. First responders rescued them via a snowcat before they were taken to a burn center down the mountain. The family now setting up a GoFundMe after they suffered severe burns and are without a home.
Mike sustained most of the burns just because he was right next to where the explosion happened in the bedroom. which hit his face, his skull.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.